What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and again, I'm sorry about the jank setup. Hopefully the audio is at least passable, and well, it is what it is. Lots of news to cover today here on a Monday, including a now active strike by Anthem players, in my opinion, a rightful strike, over the indecision at Bioware and EA and the repeated mistakes in terms of the loot. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Anthem, it's a looter shooter type game, essentially a game like Destiny 2 or maybe Borderlands 2, games where you repeat, you take part in many times very repetitive missions in order to seek the coolest loot, the masterworks, the legendary epic stuff, the really powerful stuff, so then you can go on and play more difficult levels, or sometimes the more interesting loot is something that you might just chase after for cosmetic reasons. Well, Anthem, in all of its other problems, in its convoluted release schedule, in its broken state, the fact that weapons that you start the game with can be more powerful in some cases than Masterworks. In all of these issues, Anthem has maintained a very loyal fan base. In fact, the Anthem subreddit has consistently defended the game, and oftentimes when I'm critical of the game, maybe when I go too far, being too critical, I definitely get hit with a bunch of dislikes from people. So in this case, Anthem players, I'm trying to throw my hat in the ring here as support and solidarity, because I think you're doing the right thing. Long story short, there were two updates that Bioware put out to Anthem that, according to Bioware, indirectly or unintentionally affected the loot drop rates, where you could get as many as 10 masterpiece drops in maybe 30 minutes of gameplay. The first time this mistake happened, they nerfed it in about 11 hours. In fact, there's also a Anthem streamer who ended up getting banned, and I think subsequently allowed back to play for taking advantage of this. In fact, I'm pretty certain he's back now. This was a bug, according to them. Now, it is a PvE game. Why is that important? Well, I read a lot of the comments in the first time when I talked about this bug. Many people said, look, I don't care. I don't feel bad for people who take advantage of exploits or glitches. They're not, they're cheating. And I respect that in a letter of the law sense. But I do think that there's a difference between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And in the case where we're talking about a PvE, meaning if I'm getting overwhelmingly good drops, okay, through a glitch or something, or a small window where things are just better than they should have been, it's not affecting any other players inside the game. Now, if we were to go to a situation where the game becomes PvP, or player versus player, then I do believe that these players are more detrimental. They're causing more problems than they're creating. I mean, they're having fun, but it's also creating an issue for players who are following the rules. Now, in my opinion, if a game puts out an update patch and it breaks something, you're not really exploiting it, I don't think. But that's just my opinion. Now, after 2 times Anthem releases patches, the first time they nerf it, the second time they release another patch, and again, quote, accidentally turning up the drop rate of some of the better pieces in loot. Now, they've done some good things, like removing, if you are a higher level, you're not going to see common and uncommon drops, which is obviously should have been baked in from the beginning. But this last time it came through, they again have removed it. And much of the feedback from the Anthem community has been that, hey, look, if your game's broken, at least let us have fun playing it. You see on several outlets covering today, Anthem players are vowing to log out of the polarizing online game this entire week as a stand against recent loot drop changes. Unless developer Bioware fixes the quality of loot drops, these players say they won't be playing, at least for a few days. A patch issued just 2 days ago tweaked which type of loot higher level players will encounter, removing the 2 lowest ranked types from drops for players above level 30. Meaning if you're above level 30, you're not getting jank drops, which is obviously a move in the right direction. But Bioware apparently did not increase the drop rates for much better loot items, meaning players are still struggling to get masterworks and legendary class drops they crave. A nerf does not beget a buff. Essentially, the player base is not happy. After a weekend of complaints, a user known as Afinda called for a boycott. It's time for Bioware to realize the players want a taste of the loot shower, says Afinda, referencing a so-called 11-hour bug. And that's the first bug we talked about earlier that caused the coveted loot drop all over the place just because Bioware patched the game, or just before Bioware patched the game. You mad? You should make a point once and for all. Well, we could hurt the game that has real money transactions for cosmetics, or what could hurt the game that has real money transactions for cosmetics? Or is a live service more than anything, Afinda wrote. Get your point across. Simple as that. Stop playing the game for a whole week. Hopefully with support of the entire subreddit, and I support this, which is the big reason I decided to do this video, to show Bioware that that all it takes for us to really enjoy the game is to receive loot. The ask is that everyone stop playing from today, March 11th through March 15th. It seems like plenty of people are on board. Afinda's thread currently is sitting more than 10,000 upvotes. Several commenters said they'd stop playing the game weeks ago anyway, but others are holding out hope that Anthem will improve, insist that they're ready to participate. Good timing though, since big deal online game The Division 2 is out this week. A number of folks will be jumping over that in the meantime. And then there's been at least some success staging an in-game blackout in the past. Ubisoft's For Honor launched to widespread complaints from players, and when they were threatening to leave the game to show the developer the old what for, Ubisoft quickly announced a bevy of welcome changes. We've reached out to the Anthem publisher, Electronic Arts, to see if there's a protest, if they're aware of the protest, and will update accordingly. For what it's worth, Bioware head of live service Chad Robertson did acknowledge the community feedback on Sunday. We appreciate all the feedback from the community on the game. We love the passion and share it, he tweeted. We're not yet fully happy with the game's loot behavior either. But some of these Reddit threads are really well written, I think, and they make a lot of sense as a player. Here's one that is relatively highly upvoted. Bioware, you don't need to be happy with the loot. The players do. Every time they accidentally give us what we want and then take it away, they say the same thing. We hear you, and we're not happy with the loot behavior either. This is honestly very simple. You don't need to be happy with it. You think any decent chef enjoys ruining a quality steak by making it well done? Of course not. But if the customer asks for it, they make it and they make their money. There's no difference here. Your audience could not make it more obvious what they want. So, what's more important? An audience that finally has what they want and will continue to play the game for months to come, even if it's not exactly the loot system you want, or an audience that's gone because they're not having fun and not around to experience whatever loot system you like after it takes you months to figure it out. Excellent point. And when you look at the original post here talking about the boycott, look, I love this idea. It's more productive than just complaining about it. If you hit them where their online concurrent users numbers are, if you can get this boycott to 25, 30, 40,000 people logging out for an entire week and saying, look, my only critique is that you say, we're going to log out for a week, but if it doesn't continue, so will. Or if it doesn't improve, our boycott will continue. Title, you're mad, you want to make a point once and for all, play your numbers. Get your points across. Simple as that. Stop playing the game for a whole week to receive the chance that 1 in 0.00001 God roll or anything take us further towards Grandmaster 3. Time invested for reward is a complete joke at this point. Getting gold and platinum thrown at you just for stating that it's more than enough to prove the point. Why are you so willing to stick to your beliefs? Edit 1. Oh, wow. So this is what it feels to wake up to silver, gold, and platinum. Edit 2. So apparently, it also appears to gain some traction now being covered by the media. So I'll drop a few links here to various articles on the whole thing, and then we've got a couple different ones. Should you come across more articles, especially written in languages I don't understand and feel they should be added, contact me so we can do so. Also, I don't think it was necessary to point it out, but there's a separate post on a sub about now. Look, guys, Anthem is in a bad place right now, but remember to be civil towards the devs. And that's true. I mean, they're people too. If you look at some of the other coverage on this, Anthem masterwork loot bug leading to new boycotts on Reddit. This weekend, a masterwork loot bug and EA's response highlight how Anthem has reached a crucial moment in the living game's lifespan. The fanbase has dwindled since launch, and those die hard enough to buy into the idea that Anthem can be something better than it currently is are getting frustrated. Multiple patches containing dozens of gigabytes of fixes have been pushed out since launch, but its accidental bugs seem to make the game more playable. Over the weekend, a glitch in Anthem's most recent patch caused masterwork items and legendary blueprints to drop more frequently in Stronghold missions. Instead of having to grind for hours on a Grandmaster 2 or 3 only to come out with a single item, players were getting 4 or 5 times as many. It made players happy. They wouldn't have had to waste their time playing the game's hardest bosses just to end up empty-handed or with barely anything. The bug lasted for around 6 hours before EA decided to hotfix it out, taking all of the items along with it. Brutal. I mean, what is the point of this? It's your mistake. It's like when I worked retail and there was a problem with like a listing, for example. There was a price wrong. Unless it was like $1,000 computer that was accidentally marked at $1.99, we always honored it because that's what you do. And I can't imagine a scenario where my game is struggling to get off the launch pad so mightily. And why not just give the players good loot? You gotta keep them around. To say the fans were upset with this loot reversal would be an understatement. Anthem's Reddit, the home to the game's most diehard and vocal believers, was flooded with posts asking why the loot rates to be changed, or asking them to be changed again. Reddit Silver, Gold, and Platinum rained from the sky, with nearly every post on the front page receiving some sort of monetary approval. We've become the Fallout 76 No Man's Sky, where we're watching drama unfold has become more entertaining than actually playing the game. That's a fair comparison too. I mean, Fallout 76, for all its problems, it felt like there were more people watching the videos pointing out all the problems than actually playing and enjoying the game. With the Anthem protests picking up starting from March 11th till March 15th with nearly 10,000 upvotes, it's clear that there are a lot of people who don't feel like their voices are being heard. Drop the game completely, dead for a week, and we'll see. Stuff like that won't go unnoticed by investors nor the developers. Bioware themselves, the user stated. Looking at the data surrounding the new low drops, came to the conclusion that it's inherently broken. Progression at endgame is fundamentally broken in Anthem at present, they wrote, and there's less than a 1% chance of receiving a legendary blueprint, an item you need if you want to complete the game at the highest level. Players are forced to grind the same 3 Stronghold missions over and over and over again, hoping the slot machine of EA gods in their favor. That's just not fun gameplay. And if you look at time investment, Anthem's build progression versus time investment. So here you have on the y-axis the actual progression, and then you have time investment, and you progress, but then the more time you stick in, you're not getting a fair reward for it. I, for one, definitely support this, and we're going to be writing about it over on exclusivelygames.com. So you want to make sure that you check out this website. It's funded by you, the community, contains no political rhetoric, and is about games and games alone. I hope you enjoyed today's video, though, and we'll talk to you again real soon.